Change is refreshing sometimes. And when you spend a lot of time doing repetitive tasks, doing the same thing, change is a rest. So let's imagine we were walking all day, 8-10 hours in a day. A change would be to sit down. That would give you a measure of rest. But when you want change for excitement, you get into another totally different realm. We are chasing something we don't know how to control. The present situation, whatever it is you have, is always, always better than the change that you're looking for. Because you know what to expect on a given day. Unless, of course, you live in India, because then you never know what to expect. Your day can start one way and go completely the other way. If any of you have visited or lived in India, you understand what I mean. It's always something happening there. There's always something happening. You want change when you don't like what's happening. We get bored, fed up of the same thing. I don't want to do chores anymore in the house. So let me go to a hotel for 2 or 3 days. And then it's wonderful. But then you come back to those same chores which you have to do, which there's no escaping from. And that's it. Life, you start life and you end life and you're all doing stuff. Sometimes the same routine from morning to night, things that we can control. But when you stop and you look back at what you've done, you look at yourself as a 12-year-old, as a 15-year-old, as a young man or a young woman, 25, as a 40-year-old, so much has changed. Without you realizing, without you noticing, change is your constant companion. Each and every minute, a new breath goes in and a new breath comes out. Cells are created and cells are breathed out. They're eliminated from your body. Every 12 years, your entire body structure, every cell in your body is new. But you don't notice this change happening. Because through it all, through everything that happens, through that child who couldn't walk, to that toddler, the one who learned to run, the one who had to hold on to mummy's hand to walk, there is this sense of something, of someone, of a presence that never changes. That's always there. And unless you direct that consciousness to stop and become aware of change, you actually don't realize that this has been happening from the time you were born. Change, change, change. All you can do is actually act this moment. Every time you act, you set into motion a series of events. all of this happening in your real world. Every thought that you have can bring with it a series of actions. Every idea that you have is the future waiting to happen. There are those of us that want change, and there are those amongst us who get really scared of change. We don't want anything radical to shift in our lives. We want to hold on. We have a long period of adjustment before we open ourselves to new things happening. But if you think of it, every minute of the day, every breath you take, every experience that you have, every person that you meet, every time you meet that same person, it's a new Anna you're meeting, Juan. It's a new Juan you're meeting, Anna. Isn't it? What you bring today wasn't there yesterday. The thoughts, the feelings, the memories that you're carrying with you. Each day you are refreshing yourself. You have learned something new. You have released something that you didn't need. There is constant change taking place, whether you like it or you don't like it. And we have to embrace whatever comes. Because whatever happens in your world, these are spontaneous happenings. They happen without your control. At the same time, because see, our minds are so limited. If I ask each one of you, what was your life like today? You're going to say, oh, I went bike riding, I went and had a cup of coffee here, I did this. But as you were doing that, there was a revolution taking place. There was, a volcano that was erupting, there was a sea that was rising, there was an entire community that was in uprising, there was somebody who was starving, someone who found a $10 note on the floor. There were miracles taking place and there were losses. So do you see that consciousness is so powerful, is so large, that you can never really grasp the enormity of change that is happening at the same moment. Whereas all you did was go and get a cup of coffee. Our reality is so limited. And we still want to change that little thing, that little sphere that we have. We still want change. We want to do something different. We want to, make something happen. And the more we want to change, the more we want to do things, the less it likely that it's going to happen. The more you hold on to what you believe is your life, the more it gets out of your grasp. The way to enjoy this life, the way to make the change that you want, is not to try and teach the mind or implant new ideas into the mind, but is to just simply let go. When you just exist, when you just are, when you're just being, things come to you unsought. Happenings come, happenings go, and you can interact with it without getting emotionally attached to any one happening, any one person, any one thought. So the trick is not to sit and meditate and concentrate and focus and try to eradicate that thought. What is that thought? I want to eliminate that thought from my mind. You cannot. The more you want to eliminate it, the more you want to make that change, the less likely it's going to happen. When you act in the moment, unconnected to the fruits of the action, unconnected to what's going to happen, just responding as a human being in a light-hearted way, life becomes enjoyable. Things happen, things change. Change you'll only notice when you go back. The fear that you have that things will change, that I lose control. It was never in your control in the first place. You are just holding on to a thought that says, I decide who my friends are. Do you really? Can you even decide anything about your own body? Can you decide how your heart will beat? Can you decide how the next breath is going to be processed within you? Can you decide how you're even going to see? Or arrange all the rods and cones in your retina so you get the correct picture? We are in control of nothing. We are merely observers of what is happening. Things happen and you react to it. Things happen and you respond to it. Whether you react, whether you respond, that is the art that you learn. To live on the surface of life, going from event to event to event, without wanting anything, without having anything grip you, without being so demolished, not demolished is not the right word. When you get very attached to an event, to a person in your life, to your child, everything that child says or does decides how you're going to feel and how you're going to act in that particular day. Everything changes. A child's mood changes. Your mood changes. What are we trying to do here? We're trying to live our life without feeling the burden. That's all. That's all. It's all a big joke. It's over before you know it. You are the change. Every thought you welcome, every action you take, changes not only what happens in your immediate world inside your home, but it affects so many different people. What are we afraid of? Whether things change, whether things don't change, we are right here. We're stuck in this moment. You were stuck in the moment even when you were a child, and you will be stuck in the moment 20 years later. You'll wonder, what am I doing? How did I get all the way here? Don't feel that life is gripping. When you learn to meditate, the biggest lesson that you have from meditation is just releasing, letting everything go. The world outside doesn't matter. Just understanding that when you got into meditation, the world was there, and when you got out of meditation, the world was there. Nothing changed, nothing major happened. That itself shows that whether you are stressed, you could have spent those 20 minutes agitated and stressed and frustrated that you couldn't change something, change somebody, make things work for you, right? Or you can spend that time letting it go. The more you distance yourself from events, the more they get done, because you are not the doer. You are not doing. Everything is getting done through you. You control nothing. you can't even control your own thoughts. What are you trying to change? And I used to always marvel, when you listen to any of Krishnamurti's talks, he'll always give you the impression that he's yelling at you. That he's telling you, what's wrong with you? What are you scared of? What are you doing? What do you think you can control? Who is the one talking? You ask any question, he says, who's asking that? Who's saying all this? Right? He'll yell at you because he gets it. People like him get it, and it becomes so easy. It's all there. It's all right here. You are just gripping onto things. Right? And what are you trying to do? You grip onto it with using your body and your muscles. Like when you can't see something properly, you squint. The very act of squinting you think makes you see properly, but it doesn't. It is what is. Whatever's out there remains. Even if you squint, make your eyes into tiny slits, you're not going to be able to do. You can't hear something, you do this. What did you say? Can you actually hear more? Is this a cone? Is your hearing going to improve by doing this? And when you get really mad with somebody, you get all uptight. Your shoulders straighten up, your stomach tightens. What are you doing? You're just tightening a few muscles, stopping a little breathing here or there, thinking that you're going to change something outside. Look at your own foolishness, your own stupidity, your own maya, the whole illusion of behaving. We can't control anything. All we can do is release control. And the more you let go, the more you release, the more it will reveal itself to you. The more enjoyable it'll become. Because that which experiences it all is unchanging. It is always there, it has always been. And when you look at it from that perspective, all of life is one big drama. There's stuff happening here, there's stuff happening there, there's stuff happening everywhere. And we all feel that our drama is bigger than their drama. Important stuff is the one that's happening here, in this place. And the stuff that's happening over there, the changes that are taking place there, is over there. Right? I'm over here and you're over there. And we create this dual world of us and them. And we drive ourselves crazy, trying to make them say the right things, do the right things, behave in the right way, give us the correct response. And when they don't, it makes us completely crazy. How could he say that to me? How could she treat me like that? Let it go. Let it go. There's nothing to hold on to. This life itself is temporary. This body is temporary. This day is temporary. Even this computer is temporary. I don't know when it's going to break down and will have to be replaced. Right? So enjoy this moment. Enjoy this moment. Don't worry about things that change. Everything changes. If it's too bad, then know that everything changes. If it's too good, then definitely know that everything changes. That's the real lesson. Om Namah Shivaya.